Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. So, does 80-day obsession really work? Get ready for an awesome interview with my friend Debbie Spagnoletti. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast. I'm a health and fitness coach that loves to just share tips with you, help people find their healthy formula, and just to make life happy, healthy, fulfilling. And I'm super excited because I've got an interview with my friend Debbie Spagnoletti. I'm going to bring her on here in a little bit, and she's going to share her journey of 80-day obsession. She just finished that program. A bunch of us actually just finished that program. And I've been scrolling a lot of social media, seeing the results, and I'm really blown away. I think this program has become a soulmate workout program and eating program for many, many people. I can't wait for Debbie to share her insights with all of you. So let's get to it. All right. Hey, everyone. I've got my friend Debbie Spagnoletti on here, who is in really super chilly, just north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, where they just got 29 inches of snow this past weekend. But she's like all dug out, and she's going to be on here. She's going to share her experience with 80-day obsession. Debbie, welcome to Power Blast podcast.
Thank you so much, Perry. I'm so honored to be part of this.
This is awesome. Boy, are you sore from shoveling?
No, I feel terrible, but I was doing taxes, so I didn't shovel.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a real fun time. Taxes. Yeah, it is tax season. Wow. Anyway, yeah. So it's interesting. We just finished. You and I both were in a group. We just finished 80-day obsession, and I'm sure a lot of people are out there like, does it really work? Do we get can people get results? Is 80 days really worth it? And things like that. But why don't you just share what your experience was, maybe why you chose to do that program and what you got out of it?
Sure. Okay. So when when the first group, the Autumn had her initial group try, what are they called? Oh my gosh, I can't think of what the group that tried out the program.
The coach test group?
Yeah, the test group. Oh my gosh. When she had her test group try out the program, and people were posting all of their cool results and just showing some of the workouts and different things that they were doing, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I love Autumn's workouts, and so I was like, I need to do something different because I had a very stressful fall, and I was just I had put on some weight and just felt kind of crummy about myself. But I'm like, as soon as this program comes out, I'm doing it. And then once it started, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 80 days. That seems like forever. But the first couple of weeks were kind of tough. Just getting used to the timed nutrition and different things. And so I used to work out later in the day, and I started getting up early and working out in the morning. So that was kind of tough. But I loved it. I loved getting up early, starting my day, getting, just moving. And so that was awesome. And then, so the program's 3 phases, and phase 1 is kind of the phase where you really notice more results. I think you kind of see the weight coming off quickly, and I lost 13 pounds really fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, and I was pretty excited, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then phase 2 came along, and I had a couple of vacations and different things, and I was kind of busy, and I was still trying to fit everything in, and I kind of got off track just a couple times, but I stuck through it, and I worked out during my vacation, and and it was tough, but I still got up early and did all my stuff and drank my Shakeology, and it was awesome. I just felt so good. You you lose weight, you lose inches, you get stronger, you build confidence. It's really the whole entire program. I feel like it's kind of life changing. I just loved it. So
nice.
new
Yeah.
recipes,
Say that again.
all kinds of new recipes that I tried and
Oh
different
yeah.
things. Awesome. So in the end, I weighed myself after the 80 days were up, and I lost 10.5 pounds total. So I think that some of the weight that I gained back was muscle. I really felt like I was a lot stronger, and inches wise, I lost 7.5 inches all around. So
Wow.
it was good. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very successful. I'm doing it again. I definitely recommend it. I think it was like such a great experience. Loved it.
That's really incredible, especially when you said um, about the phase one dropping a lot of weight right away, then maybe not getting off track, but maybe your time nutrition and things like that weren't dialed in and as focused as it was in phase one, but still
Right.
keeping true to the workouts as best you could.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And then finishing out, I'm sure, with the inches lost, I'm sure you just noticed some shape shifting a little bit and how clothing fit and stuff like that.
Yep, definitely. And the people didn't say, "Oh my gosh, you look like you're losing weight." But when I talked to people and I said, I when I first I shared my first pictures, I think it was around 50 days maybe. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was the end of phase 2. And I really didn't want to share my pictures because I was pretty embarrassed. I just felt embarrassed about my day 0 pictures. But and just because for myself, it's not where I wanted to be, and it's kind of just it makes you feel vulnerable. But when I shared those pictures, people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. You've I could tell that you're losing weight." But people don't want to tell you that sometimes anymore because they don't know what to say. And people, I think, are more careful. So when nobody said anything, I was like, maybe it's not even noticeable. And then so many people came out of the woodwork and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look like you've lost weight," and I could tell. And I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me?" So
That's a
that's
good
funny.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are careful about what they say nowadays, and I think a lot of times, even our day 0, and maybe we've gotten off track, and I think that's probably typical for a lot of people, probably the majority of the population, where if we've completed a program before or we got great results, maintaining that or improving upon that sometimes is more of a challenge, and we let things slide a little bit, still doing the workouts, but maybe the eating isn't as dialed in, and things add up over time. And then we get to a program like this where we're like, okay, I'm going to be focused day 1, OMG. and, and so, but for going through that process and sharing that, I think a lot of times people, I even know I think you and I are kind of in the same boat, where we can kind of be a little self-critical about knowing what we've done in the past, and
Mhm.
we're not there at the moment. And I think a lot of times there are people who are like, I wish I was at your day 0. you
I
know
know.
and so but it is a good indicator for it. It's a good thing for sharing the story, where that we're all in our own challenge, we're all on our own journey, and there's always an ebb and flow. And for me, I did not lose a lot of weight, but then again, I wasn't as dialed into the nutrition as I should have been. But I'm a lot stronger and felt great. And if I were to do a round 2, which I'm excited for you, because you're doing a round 2,
Yeah.
I bet you'll have a different take on the first phase of workouts. Probably be ramping it up, and where everybody's starting with the beginner sized loops, you're probably going to be double looping it because you've been doing that all along.
Right.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you found to be challenging with this program for you, besides it being 80 days and besides most of the workouts hovering in the 45 to 60-minute range?
I think in phase one, I found it really hard to eat with my family, because I couldn't have the carbs that they could have. So when they're having a potato, I'm not having a potato. And not that that was that hard, just to not eat it, but I didn't want to make it. And I felt bad. But, so I'm still trying to cook for other people and eat my own thing. So that was tough. But throughout the program, I was gone 6 weekends out of the program. So, and probably 3 or 4 of them were in phase one, which made it really hard because I was just getting the hang of the containers and how much, how much fruit fits in a container. So I'm bringing all my containers. We went snowmobiling, and I'm like, I still have to eat at the right time. So I'm bringing my fruit with me and carrots and stuff. And, so that was a little bit tough. The workouts for me, since I've been doing tough workouts for probably the last 13 years, off and on, more difficult and less difficult. This one, it was hard, but it was like perfect for me. Like I felt like I could keep up with Autumn and all of that. So I that part wasn't necessarily my challenge. It was just like staying with the nutrition and really trying to follow it, and when we're away from home, just making sure that I have all the food that I need. And I found myself bringing lots of stuff with me everywhere.
Wow.
So
So it forces
yeah.
you to plan ahead. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
kind of it when you're following a plan and you've kind of committed to yourself. I mean, obviously you did. You didn't say, "Well, I, I'm going to do this, but I'm cutting this, cutting this corner or cutting this thing." Obviously, I mean, what was your mindset at the beginning? How did you decide that that was what you were going to commit to?
Well, I knew, the way these programs work is if you just do the workout and you don't follow the nutrition, you're not going to get the results that they show. And I know that because I've done some of the other programs. Like when I did the Insanity Asylum program, I followed Shanti's nutrition to a T. And I lost, in that 60 days, I lost 13 pounds. And because I followed the nutrition, I did 21-day fix and 21-day fix extreme, but I didn't follow the nutrition at all. And I just kind of tried to eat. I eat healthy anyway, so I tried to follow my own thoughts of what I needed to eat. And I mean, I still, it still works, but you don't get the results that you could. And this time I was so tired of feeling like I had gotten to the point where I put on a few extra pounds that I didn't want to have. So I knew that if I wanted to, get into the best shape that I could and get the most out of the program, I really needed to follow it as closely as possible. And my intent was never to not, stay 100% dialed in, but after a couple vacations, it just kind of like I just kind of got a little slack there, and I shouldn't have. I wish I wouldn't have, because I know that my results would have been better. However, I'm not going to beat myself up for it, because I am so proud of how much I did do and where I went, and how, all of that. So I think that because it's really a journey. Like you said, you're on your own journey. You're nobody else is doing the same thing that you're doing exactly. And life happens, people get hurt or whatever, and so some people don't even finish the program. So I feel like where I started and where I ended is awesome, and I feel like it's like the first step in that next layer of journeys that I'm on. So I'm pretty excited because I'm very anxious to get going and do another round and see where I go.
Oh, that's so cool. And I think when you said people get injured, it wasn't people got injured because of the program.
No, no, no. It's just, like
Life
people, like
things.
a lot. Yeah, just, people, I've heard.
People are out shoveling and then hurt their back.
Yeah, exactly. People just got hurt being real.
Yeah.
And, not with the program though. The one thing that I do want to say about that though is, um, I I have had gotten hurt doing different other workout programs here and there. Just like, tweaked my back or whatever. This program, never once. Like, Autumn is so amazing at giving the cues. She always says, make sure that you, you hold your abs in tighter and blah, blah, blah. She's always telling you, like, keep your back straight. I felt like she was talking to me. I felt like she was watching me, and she knew exactly when I needed to hear what she said. I thought that was so awesome. And so I never got hurt during this program. I was so impressed with how much care she put into making sure that she told everybody what they needed to do to keep their form. So that was awesome.
Oh, that is really, really cool. So let's talk about, I mean, this is an 80-day program, and there's 3 phases, each one maybe like 27 days-ish, whatever. And then there's like a final week that you're doing what they call peak week, and it gives you an option to, kind of do a carb cycling type of eating plan. So 80 unique workouts. I mean, exercises might repeat each week, but the way she mixed them up, the number of reps or the number of the way you did the sets were very different and compelling. So what was it like for you to go through 80 unique workouts?
Well, okay, so the thing that I loved, just absolutely loved about the 80 different workouts is it made you feel like you were part of their group. And it's so funny because every single day is different. And we started on a Monday, and so throughout the program, every day Autumn would be like, hey, it's Monday or it's Tuesday or whatever day it was. And it was that day for me. And so I felt like we were all there. And even though we weren't, it just was so cool. And the funny thing is because they were so real, like people the cast would talk, and Autumn would share things about her life, and every day it's different. So you kind of felt like you got to know them, even though you didn't, and they have no idea who you are. But it just felt like you're part of this group, and I love that. That was really cool. That was the first program I've ever done that's anything like this, and that was probably one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I think maybe Beachbody's realizing this, and maybe they tested it with the different workouts that they had, those little short 1 week things with week and week of hard labor. But I even know there's an upcoming program with Joel Freeman, which it will be 4 days a week that you're working out, but they're 32 different workouts for 8 weeks. So that's kind of a cool thing. So maybe they're onto something. I know that this program is only on demand. Can you imagine the number of DVDs that would be for an 80-day obsession? That'd be kind of wild. Did you watch the weekly obsession? One of the cool things, people, is during this program, at the end, the last part of the last workout of the week on Saturday, they would add on this extra bonus footage talking about their experience from the upcoming week and what to expect, what their challenges were, how their eating was going, what their results were like. And so did you watch that, Debbie? And what was your take on adding that feature to the program?
I did watch those, and that was so awesome because it kind of gives you like this sneak peek into what next week's going to be like. Some of the weeks were we had like a refeed day where you could have different kinds of carbs, and so they talked about that a little bit. So kind of it's like, oh yeah, I need to get some food that I can eat that fits into that refeed. And so it was really awesome. I love that. I just like that was, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that was a really cool thing. It just made it feel even more like you're part of this group, and they're like cheering you on and telling you, like this is so cool about what we did and what's coming for you. So
Yeah,
that was awesome.
that was they added a lot of neat little enhancements here, and that was really cool. Did you have any issues with the equipment? I mean, this program, I know for me, using the sliders, the only time I've really ever used sliders before was a little bit in PIO, and I thought, oh, these things are cool. Well, then now they're in almost a majority of the workouts, and then these loops, which I'd only really used in like some of Sean T's workouts. I remember them being a literal pain. So for me, I'm out buying, I think I did, for those of you who don't know, and I think you can go into Beachbody On Demand, even if you don't have Beachbody On Demand, and do something called a Little Obsessed. I can't remember if it's available for free or not, but and it kind of gave you a little half-hour version of what these workouts are like. And you get to try the sliders and try the loops. And I'm realizing I need some compression tights for my legs are not going to like these loops. But how was the equipment, using the equipment for you? And because there's kind of a little some frustration to putting on the loops sometimes when the exercises are moving from move to move.
Well, I'm lucky because I'm lucky because I'm short, even though it's not always a blessing, but I'm short and I have little feet. So the loops were really easy for me to get on and off. But I can see where it would be a problem if you have larger feet.
Yeah.
And some people even in some of the 80-day workouts, you'd hear someone's loop snap and it tear or whatever and come off. I never had a problem with my loops breaking or anything like that. So I still have my second set of loops that is my backup. I didn't have any trouble with the loops at all. In my sliders, I already had a different set of sliders, but when I bought the whole kit with the loops and sliders and my Beachbody supplements, I just started using the sliders that came with, that Beachbody sent me, and those are great. I had no trouble with them, except for at first I wasn't as coordinated or felt as strong, but wow, now it's like they're so easy and it's awesome. But one of the things that I did need to do was keep upping my weights. So for Christmas, I got weights. For Valentine's Day, I got weights. My birthday, I got weights. Because I needed heavier weights, which was awesome. And it was, like that was it was kind of fun because I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm getting 30s. So
that's the way to build your gym, people, is just go from holiday to holiday, follow 80-day obsession while you're getting stronger, request the next level of weights. Make sure you time it out with the different holidays. Hey, you didn't get me a Halloween gift this year, and I would like some extra 45-pounders. That's so awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, the sliders, the loops. It with our kit, and I don't know if it was the same thing. We got two different types of loops. We got some 9-inch loops and 6-inch loops. I did the program with 6-inchers. So it made it even more challenging to try and get those over your shoes and stuff like that. But the way cool. So now that we can come to the end of this program and you're done with it, in reflecting back, were there any workouts that became your favorites?
I'm trying to think which ones were really my favorites. I like total body core. I, you know, I'm trying to think. I was gonna say what one wasn't my favorite.
Go ahead. What was? I know it's really easy for people to say what their nemesis workout was. What was your not favorite?
The one where you do all the animal moves. What was that called?
Cardio flow.
Cardio flow. Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, that wasn't my favorite because that was hard. It was so hard, but I liked it anyway. It was weird because I had a love-hate relationship with cardio flow for sure. But I loved how she changed it up each phase.
Thank goodness.
So yeah, and it wasn't because like phase 1, you just keep building on you start with 4 of each rep or 4 reps of each move, and then you just keep building on. And then phase 2 is 6 reps of each move. And I was like, oh my gosh, she said we're going to do 8 reps of each move in phase 3, but she changed it up. And I'm so glad she did, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do the way we were doing it in the other phases. Yeah. But
is there anything, you bring up a good point. I think a lot of us were like 8 reps, but yeah, she did mix it up to where you were back down to 4 reps, and then you just went through the routine of all the sets like 8 more times. And I think that in the last one, she said, you know what, we're not doing this add-on thing. We're just going with 10 rounds. So that was refreshing as well. And actually, I did like that one. Is there anything that you learned about yourself as you went through this program? I know you got stronger and whatever, but anything with mindset that you found, empowering, uplifting for yourself?
I think just making my way through and continuing, because 80 days, it's not just 80 days, it's 80 workouts, and you're taking every Sunday off. So it's a long time. And I think part of me was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through 80 days. I have I was looking at my calendar and thinking, okay, I have this coming up and that coming up and this other thing coming up. And I'm just, and I thought, well, I'm just going to do as much as I can and get as far as I can. But then I was like, why would I do that? Why wouldn't I go all the way and do the whole thing? And I found that, yeah, like you said, you get stronger and you can do things differently. But one of the things that I found out about myself is I think I'm a morning person. I didn't think I was a morning person, but I think I am. I loved getting up early and having my breakfast, because when you work out first thing in the morning, your pre-workout meal is a meal. You have to have your carb and your protein and your veggie. But I would have steel cut oatmeal, and my Shakeology with spinach. And so I got all the stuff I needed to do. And I found out that I could eat right before I worked out and I didn't have any problem at all. Some people said that they couldn't do that, but I I I definitely think that you should try it if you're if that's your next program that you're going to do and you think you can't eat breakfast right before you work out, you might be able to. That really surprised me about myself, but I never had a problem with it.
Oh,
Well, maybe one day I was like, oh my goodness. It was the day that Autumn said she thinks she was pausing because she's like, I might be going to throw up a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was thinking, that is exactly what I was thinking about myself. I think I just choked something back. but once. And like, I don't know. I absolutely love the program. It's definitely probably my number one favorite right now. I just loved it.
Yeah, it became a soulmate workout program for a lot of people that I was talking to. And it's really easy. You bring up a good point. I think for a lot of people, we talk ourselves out of a great challenge and something that we could do because so it is 80 days. It ends up being basically 13 weeks. It's like a 90-day program when you add in Sundays and stuff like that. And so a lot of times we try to plan ahead and say, this is a 3-month commitment. Oh, I've got this and this and this and this and this. Talk yourself out of it and then do nothing that you could this could empower you. And I think you brought up a really good point that as you face those obstacles or those challenges along the way, you figure out a way through it. You figure out a way around it. You go on vacation, you're like, I'm still going to do these workouts, or I'm still going to figure out the time nutrition, even though maybe my food options aren't exactly what I had at home, or now I'm going off snowmobiling and I'm needing the only difference is I needed to pre-plan a little bit, and take some snacks. And, I think people going forward really need to consider and not just the way of talking yourself out of doing the program, but talking yourself into what could happen along the way. And what if I didn't let myself off the hook during the whole program? Or what if I just faced the challenge when it occurred, as opposed to predicting all this extra mental drama that isn't even real yet. It doesn't even happen. And one thing I want to tell people about, because I'm sure that you did not follow the modifier, but there is a lady in this program that does modify all the moves. And it was so cool to watch her progress that by the time it was phase 3, Autumn was talking her into still modifying the moves, even though she really did not need to modify the moves anymore. She was like, she's caught up. She's worked through and gotten so much stronger, gotten so much leaner that you got to, and I maybe you can talk about that. What was it like watching their progress over the 80 days as they went through?
Oh my gosh. So so I did a little obsessed, the 1 week program that came out in December. I did that before this one, which was the intent of a little obsessed. So you get, your taste of it. Well, so the group had already, Autumn's cast had already gone through 80-day obsession. And so at that point, they were already in really good shape. But then when I started the 80-day obsession program on day 1, it was like, oh, this is what they looked like on day 1. And so you watch them at every, as they progressed through it, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're getting in such good shape. And by the end, Carrie, the modifier, you could tell that she had come so far. Her results were the most dramatic of all the group, and she was the modifier, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
But, they talked about how, like Richardson said, that somebody that he hadn't worked with in a while, or somebody who was gone or something. I can't remember what he said, but this person had come back into to where he worked and saw him, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, look at you." And but and that was only probably halfway through the program. You could just see how fit they were getting and how much stronger they were as well. So that was really neat to see too, because it felt like they were with you, and it wasn't like you were working out with people. I mean, yes, they were already in they all looked great before, but I felt like I could relate to their progress. So I thought that was pretty neat too.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, I so appreciate you coming on, just sharing your perspective, sharing your results and everything. Is there anything that, pops into mind as you've gone through here? And I know that people have talked to you about that. You posted some pictures, you got some feedback. For somebody that's out there that's considering, man, I've heard a lot about that 80-day obsession thing. I've seen all these pictures. There's no infomercial out there about it that I know of. But any recommendations? What would you recommend or say to that person?
I think I would say, first of all, if your goal is to really change the way that you're eating and you're feeling, and your fitness and all these different aspects of your life, if you want to change that and you're willing to go all in, do it, because I promise you're gonna love it. You are not going to come out of the 80 days having done all the hard work and not be so proud of yourself for all the changes that you've made and all of the things that you find out that you can do that you didn't even think you could do, like mule to frogs. These different moves that you're like, there's no way I could do that. But you can, and you will. And so I think that, but you have to go into it with a mindset that you're not just going to see what it's like and just do the workouts. You need to do the whole thing. You really do. I just think that it's kind of it's a whole lifestyle change. It's not just, I'm going to start a new workout program. It's really the nutrition. They say nutrition is 80%, and the workouts are 20% of what changes you. And I really do think that's true, because like I said before, when I did programs without following the nutrition, it wasn't the same results. It didn't come out the same, and I wasn't as happy with how everything was. But I just think that if people are considering doing the program, they should do it and go all in, though. Really go all in.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Debbie, for being on here. Totally awesome. And congratulations on your results. Good luck with round 2. Hopefully you do it with a group of people. I think we've got a group of people that are going to be starting very soon again. But if you're watching this podcast in the future, I'm sure there's a group out there that just check with your coach or contact. Debbie, where can people connect with you? Do you have a website here?
I'm on Instagram. My name is Debbie Spag on Instagram.
Debbie, S-P-A-G?
Yep.
Debbie Spag on Instagram. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you asked me. I had a lot of fun talking with you.
Oh, I know this is going to benefit a lot of people. Well, that was totally awesome. I so appreciate you for coming on here and just hearing Debbie's story and her experience. And if you find that you want to do the 80-day obsession, or even join one of our upcoming groups, you can email me, perrytinsley@gmail.com. I'll get you the details of what I know at the current time and can help you on your way. Or you can reach out to Debbie on Instagram. that would be totally awesome. And I so appreciate you for just coming on and hearing this journey, or even sharing this podcast with somebody you know who could benefit, who wants to be inspired, who maybe can benefit from doing the 80-day obsession themselves. You absolutely rock, my friend, for doing that. Thank you so much. And it would be really, really crazy cool if you got over to the iTunes store or even your podcast app and gave an honest rating and review of this show so it reaches more people. That would be really, really awesome. And as always, remember,
it's never too late.
We'll see you next week. Yay!